Welcome to our webinar on EcoVadis and how you might want to use EcoVadis as a tool for change. I'd like to start with some housekeeping rules, and then we'll move on. As you already heard, we will record this session and we'll share the slides and the recording with you afterwards. So that's clear. Please mute your microphones. And feel free to switch off your camera if you feel better with that. We do want to hear your questions, of course, because that's what we're interested in, but not to have a discussion on it, but please enter your questions in the chat. We will keep an eye on the chat box, and at the end of the call, we will make sure that we have some time available for Q&A. By the way, if we don't get around on answering your question during this webinar, we will reach out to you on email after the call. Also, we have a couple of polls during the call. Again, there, please answer give your answers in the chat, and we will have a look at the score. I will quickly run you through Tosca and who we are, and then we'll dive into the actual matters. On screen, you see who we are. My name is Chris Jansen. I'm an associate partner at Tosca, and together with Petram Kashmiri, who is a junior sustainability consultant, I will be your host on the call today. Tosca stands for Tribe of Sustainability Change Agents, and we bring together a wealth of experience from different kind of backgrounds, like accountancy, certification, procurement, circularity, finance, all the way. So with all of our knowledge and all of our experience, we help companies to work as a business for good. The services we offer to our customers are divided in basically four main areas. It's about developing ESG strategies and creating value for our customers. It's about support companies to implement their ESG strategy and create meaningful engagement with that. And the third area, we help customers to develop reliable and compliant sustainability reporting. The fourth area, we engage with customers. We call that transformation programs. We have some collaborations with Professor Van Tilder from the Rotterdam School of Management and with Sander Tiedeman from Triple Value Leadership, where we developed the ESG leadership journey. Of course, you can find more information about our services on our website. When we engage with customers, we usually develop a sustainability roadmap to get a thorough view of where customers want to go and what we need to do to get there. As far as we're concerned, that leadership and transformation programs support the entire roadmap because we believe that sustainable leaders build resilient companies. Always we need to show our customers, we're very proud of that. For several years we've been working with a broad range of customers, both in the Netherlands as well as internationally. And as you can see, we work with all kinds of companies, all sizes, from large corporates to SMEs, and we're not sector specific. We have a lot of experience and knowledge we can support to customers. And if we don't have the knowledge that we need, we have a network where we can source knowledge outside as well. Enough said about us. Back to the agenda for today. The aim for today is to give you a high-level overview of what EcoVadis is and why we think companies can use it as a tool for change. And to give you an overview of the methodology, the process, and we'll provide some user tips as well. As always, time is limited. We had to make some choices, and our overview will not be complete. We've made a selection of topics to inform you on, but amongst sustainability professionals, we could probably spend days talking about this, but we'll limit it to an hour. Again, if you have any specific questions for your specific company or sector, feel free to reach out to us after the webinar. We're interested to see what kind of experience level we have on the call. So here's our first poll. Petram, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Yeah, we are curious to see if you have experience with EcoVadis, and if you have gotten a medal or a badge, or you're just getting started. So please put the number in the chat so we can also get to know you a little bit. I see a bronze, silver, pretty good. Some answers coming in. Yeah, indeed. I see some people who have not started with EcoVadis, or they are pretty new. So it's actually a nice mix of starters and experienced participants, which is very cool. So we'll keep that in mind for the rest of the webinar. Thank you.
Okay, so by the sound of it, we have indeed a mixed bag of experience levels. So we aim to inform everybody. So some of it might be familiar for some of you already. So I'll quickly go through the basics of EcoVadis for the people who are new to this. EcoVadis is a corporate sustainability management system. Companies who register, they get to answer to an annual online questionnaire on ESG-related topics. These are both generally, but also specific to your specific industry or sector. Upon answering the questionnaire, EcoVadis performs what we call a document-based assessment on the maturity of your company's sustainability management system. It's based on the principles of ISO 26000, UN Global Compact, GRI, and other international standards. The questionnaire improves and changes year on year. And for example, the last couple of years, we've seen that questions start to tend to align towards the CSRD, for example. In the assessment, EcoVadis asks you to be transparent on your company's ESG-related policies, your measures, and your reporting. And there's a strong focus on creating sustainability in the supply chain. EcoVadis has built a large database over the years, and the last number I got was that around 65,000 companies are assessed by EcoVadis globally. Referring back to the title of the webinar, with regards to corporate sustainability, companies often don't know where to start or what projects they should prioritize. And with the structured approach provided by EcoVadis, you can set up a process of year-on-year continuous improvement to your sustainability performance. And that's why we like to refer to EcoVadis as a tool for change, because it provides you with that blueprint of what an effective sustainability management looks like. What we see is that you can use the assessment as a sort of a gap analysis on what your stronger points are and where there's improvement needed. So it helps you to define priorities in your sustainability journey. As with all ESG-related projects, you will need a plan, you will need a team, and you will need to reach out to many departments to get to all of your answers. And the fact that your company has gone through this process and the recognition of your sustainability performance enables you to be transparent to your stakeholders, both internally, to your own staff, as well as to external stakeholders. The benchmark. EcoVadis compares your ESG performance with your peers in the same sector and with all other companies who have an EcoVadis rating. That gives a good view on where you are on your sustainability performance. And we often see that customers embark on this whole EcoVadis journey because they're asked for a certification in tenders or RFPs. So obtaining that medal badge might position you better in some of those cases. Lastly, the setup of the EcoVadis rating system requires you to improve year on year, even to get to or to obtain the same rating as you had last year. So it's a real motivation to keep developing your sustainability management. Real quickly, for the new people who are new on EcoVadis, the certification steps. You register, you select your type of subscription, you enter the size of your company and select the sector you work in. You will get access to the EcoVadis portal and you will find your company's questionnaire in line with your industry risk profile. I'll touch upon that later in the deck. After completion, EcoVadis experts usually take around 8 weeks to analyze your answers. They will then share the results, and this implies directly whether you will have earned a badge or a medal. That is very quickly for sometimes a longer process. Now we dive into the methodology a little bit more deeply. EcoVadis considers an effective sustainability management systems to be one that develops policies, implements actions, and reports on the results of that. You can see that. And so you get EcoVadis questions your company's policies, what actions you have linked to those policies, and how you report on the progress of these actions. They're all linked together. And setting up your sustainability management in this way aligns to other requirements like the CSRD. And I dare to say that if you set up your EcoVadis properly, your CSRD or VSME reporting will be easier, but also the other way around. If your company has a CSRD compliant sustainability report, your EcoVadis assessment requires less effort. EcoVadis categorizes the sustainability management into 7 management indicators, as shown on the screen here. I'll quickly run you through them to set up what they are. Policies, of course. Policies are considered as documented commitments and guidelines that describe your company's approach to sustainability, containing what they call qualitative objectives and quantitative targets. And you have to describe your governance around all of that. Secondly, EcoVadis looks at endorsements. These are external charges or initiatives your company has formally supported or signed. The most known one, familiar one, is UN Global Compact. You can become a member of that. In the Netherlands, for example, it could be a membership of MVO Netherlands. That is seen as an endorsement as well. Secondly, we look at the actions. Actions consist of measures, certification, and coverage. Measures are just concrete actions or processes your company has implemented to address sustainability issues. These can be health and safety procedures, waste measures, energy saving instructions, or trainings on sustainable procurement, you name it. That's a whole wide range. Certifications, of course, because this is a recognized third-party certification that validates your company's sustainability practices. Good examples here are always the ISO standards like 14001 on environmental management or ISO 27001 on information security. But also any other specific label you have or independent audit that has been done for your specific sector might count as a certificate. Lastly, it's coverage. This is only valid for companies for more than 1,000 FTEs, and it indicates the level of deployment of your certificates and actions throughout the whole company. Lastly, we look at reporting. That's reporting and the 360 watch. Again, these on reporting, EcoVadis asks you to provide quantitative data and KPI indicators on your company's track to measure sustainability progress. This goes for both environmental KPIs on CO2 emissions or waste or water usage or anything like that, but it might also be on social topics like D&I, Works Council representation, or sick leave percentages, things like that. Lastly, we look at 360 Watch. EcoVadis uses an AI tool to search independent external resources, such as media, stakeholder reports, to discover negative impacts or potential wrongdoings. There's nothing you can do there apart from behave yourself, of course. Then we look at the pillars. The policies, actions, and results are verified against 4 sustainability pillars containing a total of 21 sustainability criteria. I'm not going to run through all of them, but you will recognize most of them as the standard ESG themes. The 4 pillars are the environment, labor and human rights, ethics, and sustainable procurement. So on these criteria, you will be questioned on what your policy is, apologies, which actions you have taken, and how you report KPIs and progress on these actions. So you can expect to get questions on all of the above topics, but please note that not all 21 sustainability criteria are activated for all companies. So whether or not these criteria are activated for your company depends on the size, the location, and your industry risk profile. That's shown on slide now. The industry risk profile. EcoVadis has defined sustainability criteria on material topics. These are relevant for your company according to industry, the size, and the location, as I said. They're called the activated criteria. And in this example from EcoVadis, you can see that a plastic products manufacturer has more activated criteria than a software company. So not all companies get the same questionnaire, as it depends on the industry risk profile. But you can say that, for example, all software companies of the same size in the EU will receive the same questionnaire. So this makes it a valid benchmark in my view. And I think we go to our next poll now. So Pedram, over to you now.
Yes, so we are also curious to see which industry profile does your organization fall under, also to get to know you a bit better. Are you in the construction sector, in the IT sector, or more in food or fashion? So please let us know in the chat which sector you are coming from. I see some consultants. It's always good to have some colleagues on board. Further, I see utilities, retail, footwear and clothing. Interesting. Wholesale, water management, engineering. Wow, we have a pretty diverse group. That's really cool to see.
Again, like with the experience levels we saw before, also here a mixed bag, and it's good to see that we have a wide range of sectors represented on our call. Good to see.
Indeed. Now, moving on.
Yeah.
Back to you, Chris.
Thank you. Yeah. Earlier on, I took you through the management indicators, and the overview on screen now gives you a high-level insight on how EcoVadis rates your input. EcoVadis allocates the most points to actions. 40% of your points are allocated to that. Mainly to the measures, because these are the actions where your sustainability is put in motion for your company. And also certifications, and this is the independent proof or audit of your sustainability efforts. After this, it's the results, reporting about what you have done. Here you provide the proof of what you have done. You're supposed to be transparent on it, and you have your 360 watch findings of them. Lastly, it's 25% allocated to the policies. And although this is the lowest score, as you can, if you want to see it like that, but we think that's an extreme important one because it embeds sustainability in your company culture. You know, have you written down your objectives, your targets, and your governance? And maybe you even make them publicly available. And do your employees know what good looks like? When are you a sustainable company? So obviously, policies need to be converted into actions. And there we see an interesting difference between often large corporates, sometimes SMEs, where large corporate have a lot of policies and a lot of governance covering their work, but they sometimes struggle to implement the actions throughout the whole company. Whereas SMEs often are very action orientated. They just get on with it. But they often lack a proper policy or a target or an objective on where they are going. So that is an interesting view to see. In the next slides, as an example, I'd like to take you through what this would look like and how that moves into ethical work. This is a real example as an output of the questionnaire. As you can see, we've selected environment, we've selected policies, environmental policies, and the question is, does your company have a policy with qualitative objectives and quantitative targets for, and then we look at water. These are the activated criteria: water, energy consumption and greenhouse gases, materials, environmental services and advocacy, and customer health and safety. So you can see on the right side, some of the documentation that has been provided is accepted, some of the documentation is rejected. In the bottom, in the far right, in the portal, you can click on the rationale why certain documents are accepted or rejected. So if you then look at the scoring methodology and the way EcoVadis looks at it, then EcoVadis says, in this example, we again look at environmental policy and we see, does your policy contain qualitative objectives? Does it contain quantitative targets, measurable targets? And does it address more than 67% of your key sustainability issues from the risk profile? You can read all of that in the risk profile. In this specific example, you can see that, suppose that this customer would like to move from good to the advanced level, the governance or responsibilities for this policy need to be allocated more clearly, or a review mechanism has to be put in place, or the scope of the policy needs to be better specified. Is it only a certain sector? Is it only a certain part of the company, or does it count for the global scope, etc.? Principle of the scales, as we've shown it here for policies, is the same for actions and the same for results, but it's based on slightly different criteria here. Yeah, this is good. When EcoVadis has reviewed all your policies, your actions, and your result, then we can take a look at the overall scorecard that is presented. This is the way it is presented on the EcoVadis scorecard, and you can see right away that you can see the 4 sustainability pillars we said, and you can see 7 management indicators we see. You can also see that based on the risk profile, the level of impact that is they have on the overall score. So on here, this company, you can see measures are most important, and labor and human rights has highest impact on the score. You can see the score per pillar. You have an overview of your strongly developed themes. You can straight away, also with the color coding, of course, can see your development areas. You have a weight per team and you have a weight per indicator score. The overall score here is 67. And actually, this is a customer with a gold medal. What you can also see here is that you don't need to have a perfect score to get a gold medal. The framework of EcoVadis links your policies to your actions, to your result, and the focus is on continuous improvement. EcoVadis provides you in this overview with sort of the specifics on where your focus should be. In this slide is a quick overview of where you get to on your medals. EcoVadis awards your sustainability management system and the scoring that goes from a fast mover badge to a platinum medal. Previously, you had to reach a certain amount of points to get to a bronze, a silver, gold, or platinum medal, for example. Currently, that has been changed, and you need to be part of the top X percentile. They are shown on screen. And that is raising the bar a little, to be honest, because all companies are improving year on year. A lot of companies have to report similar topics under the CSRD, and they have updated their sustainability management system, or they have updated their policies, and they have gathered proper data accordingly. So that rises the bar. So now you need to make sure that if you have a gold medal and you're part of the top 5%, if that threshold moves, you need to make sure, and you want to keep the golden medal, then you need to make sure that you improve it as well. Our next poll.
Yes.
Pedro, over to you.
Yes, indeed. We have our next poll. We are also curious, for those of you who have already started the EcoVadis assessment, what has been the biggest challenge in your process? And for those of you who have not started but have also encountered challenges, we would also like to hear from you. So if you could describe that in a few keywords in the chat, that would be great. So we can go through them. I'm seeing procurement policies.
My sweet spot.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a background in procurement, so every time someone starts about procurement, well, I won't start because then I'll be talking too long.
I'm seeing a lot of different information from different departments. That is indeed what we hear more often from our customers, that the complexity of gathering data and also engaging so many different departments is definitely there. I see a few people who say they have not started yet. Yeah.
But that is in line. Yeah, I see not enough good data. That is indeed something to work on.
But that's also quite recognized.
I can touch upon that later, but it is a process in order, like with CSRD, you know, it is a process to grow into.
One last thing, I see so many fragmented demands throughout the organization, not only EcoVadis, but also work on CSRD. I think this might also tie back into the complexity of gathering data from different departments, which is, this is definitely also quite familiar. All right.
You see, my comment on that last one I already made, but you see that the EcoVadis questions tend to move towards the ESRSs and the CSRD. So that is a good thing, that you can sort of kill two birds with one stone in this respect. Yeah. Okay. When looking on how to organize the assessment, we recommend to our customers to not start with opening the assessment on day one. Because when you open the assessment in the portal, the clock starts ticking, and that creates unnecessary pressure. And there's a lot of work you can do up front. So our advice is not to treat EcoVadis as a quick compliant exercise, but as a real tool for change. Integrate it into your annual management cycles and to get the best out of it from that structured approach. And it means that you work on improving your sustainability management system all year long, probably year on year as well. Either way, our advice is to start at least 4 months ahead of your due date. And please, please set enough time apart and don't underestimate it, because it is an extensive exercise, especially if you do it for the first time. So if we look at the steps, the way we approach it, first of all, you allocate the team, and you set up a team and you allocate theme ownership in your organization. You need legal, you need finance, you need facilities, you need procurement, you need operations, HR, name it, you need all of them. That already was one of the issues raised earlier in the hall. Your first focus should be on your high impact. You can see them in the industry profile, and this is where your impact is. So that is where you want to start. You can start by collecting all the documentation you need, and you can see, sort of make that gap analysis and see what is missing. You can use the portal for that, but we also see that customers like to work in an offline Excel or other database type solution. What we've noticed is that customers like to work with a certain document structure and naming convention. When collecting the documents, the first time you can upload 55 documents. Next year again, next year again. That can be quite complex as well. So create a shared space, probably per year, and start a naming convention so that you can recognize which document was uploaded in which year, etc. This can also be done in the portal, by the way. The portal keeps track of your number of uploaded documents as well. That's your choice on how to work on that. The other thing we'd like to do while gathering the documents is to definitely check the EcoVadis useful resources in the portal. There's a lot of sustainability guidance. There's all kinds of how-to guides, and there are all kinds of templates in there as well. So really useful to use. So then in the next step, you open up the questionnaire because you think you're ready for it. That activates an 8-week window to submit your documents. It is 8 weeks, but the deadline can be postponed. What we often see is that companies like it, I like it, to have a certain deadline and not postpone it. So try to work on the 8 weeks, but it is very easy to postpone. When it is not the first time you do it, check upon your questionnaire, because it changes year on year. So check the changes against last year. They're also mentioned in there, but that you don't expect to get exactly the same questionnaire year on year. It takes 8 weeks for EcoVadis experts to review your assessment, and after that period, you will receive your scorecard and your scores. You get a very detailed view on that, and our advice is to analyze the answers in detail. If things are not clear on why EcoVadis has come to a certain conclusion, raise questions. There's a specific process to do this, and in previous years, by raising questions for our customers, we've uplifted the scores sometimes because EcoVadis had not interpreted things correctly, for example. Yeah. Lastly, there is something in the portal that's called the corrective action plan. This is an EcoVadis summary of all improvement areas. This plan shows priorities they think you should work on based on your industry profile, and it goes from high to low impact on a per theme basis. The good thing about this is that you can work on it all year round. You can allocate owners to it in the portal, your colleagues, and you can link them to specific improvement in their area. You can also start uploading documents without having to open the questionnaire. They don't count for your last year's score, but they will count for next year's score. We suggest to incorporate that corrective action plan into your annual planning cycles and to make it part of your business as usual. The user tips. We always want to share some with you, of course, because what we often see is that companies see an EcoVadis assessment as a challenge. You already said it yourself in the poll just now. And we don't, some companies don't exactly know where to start or what to do. And you don't hear me say it's going to be easy, but there are some things to make it, to take into account that make your life a little bit easier when starting it. The first one, I think we've already said it, but start on time. Don't underestimate it. And the more time you will grant yourself, the more the quality of your answers will improve. For the people who haven't started yet, you don't start from scratch, you will have, as a company, a lot of documentation that is usable. And the handbooks, health and safety procedures, training and development policies. Maybe you already have an ESG report or you measure CO2, but also works council agreements. You might have sponsorships, certificates. All of that is usable to build your sustainability management system from. Maybe also you have some conversations going on in the industry with partners or with suppliers. Again, that can all help. Looking at the document requirements, again, that's an easy win. Look at all your documents and make sure that they all contain your company name and logo, they have an issue date, and that they have a review date, whether you do that annually, biannually, or every 5 years, as long as it's on there. As already said, you can upload 55 documents the first time. Check your validity of the documents annually, and upon adding new documents, don't delete the old ones because they might still count to your score as well. Another one is that documents should not be issued more than 2 months before the questionnaire. So that means documents that are newer than 8 weeks will not be accepted. So that's another reason to start early in order to make sure that your documents are all valid to use. I already referred to the EcoVadis resources. Read the guidelines well, For example, what a policy is for your company might not be seen as a policy by EcoVadis. So take your time to compare those. And also make sure that the uploaded document matches the definition. It sounds a bit like an open door, but the document needs to answer the question. What we often see is that a policy document is uploaded at a question asking about reporting. And it's an easy mistake to make, but you have to be clear on that. The questions might change from year to year. So stay alert on those changes and use all the other resources in the portal, the templates, the trainings, the methodology overview, the best practices, the how-to documents, they're all there. They're all there. So corrective action plan, we already referred to. Clear overview of high impact and priorities, high to low. Very simple way to work with it. In order for EcoVadis to be an effective sustainability management system, make sure it's embedded in your yearly, monthly, whatever management cycles. Like for implementing CSRD or other frameworks in your organization, set things up in such a way that they become business as usual for all your required departments. That will definitely help you in your data gathering and putting it on the radar. And lastly, it's more like an advice: don't expect to get a platinum medal in year one. Take your time. Better do it slowly, but have your sustainability well embedded and see it as a journey. Sustainability is about the long term, and keep your long-term goals in sight with that. With that long-term goal in mind, let me recap why you want to do all of this. it's sustainable business. Doing sustainable business is not something you do, or achieve overnight, but it is something that will deliver benefit to you in the long run. So we think that it will give you deeper insights in your company's material issues. What are the really important matters to work on? It helps you identify and manage sustainability impact and risks and opportunities. And again, here you see the alignment with other frameworks. It enables benchmarking and continuous improvement, and it builds trust with your stakeholders through the transparency you create. And a well-structured sustainability management system supports compliance with global standards and regulations. And we think it boosts your brand reputation because you now have verified sustainability credentials. As already mentioned, it increases your competitiveness in tenders. And companies can only improve their sustainability if they work together in an entire supply chain. Using EcoVadis encourages responsible sourcing in that supply chain. So maybe now you're considering to use EcoVadis or benchmark your performance in another way, or boost your sustainability performance, and you won't be surprised to hear that we, of course, like to can offer you some support. Sometimes we help companies on their full assessment, including project management and everything. But it might also be that you have specific questions on implementation and improvement of your policies, actions, or results, or we offer customized support. Lastly, we sometimes do team coaching and guidance for your team on how to manage or run or set up programs regards to EcoVadis. So on that note, that brings us to the end of the webinar. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you picked up some new things. And this is where I would like to open up for questions. And Petra, I'm looking at you. I don't know whether we get already some questions during the webinar, or otherwise feel free to enter your question in the chat right now.
Yes, indeed. I have not seen any unanswered question in the chat, so please feel free to put your question there, because we have some time for Q&A indeed.
I see a question from Hannele.
Okay.
No, it is a document-based assessment. EcoVadis does not perform any audits. They do ask you, by the way, whether you as a company, for example, do audits with your suppliers, or whether any of your customers have done any audits with you, but they don't do any audits themselves. I see how or when can you get feedback during the answers in the questionnaire? You don't. There is, well, not on the answers. There is in the portal, you can ask questions to EcoVadis, and they answer your question quite elaborate, I must say, during the process. So if you have any questions before you submit and you answer a question, it takes a couple of days for them to respond mostly, but that is the way they do it. Our experience is that the quality of their answers is quite good.
I see another question about the quality and sincereness of the documents. How is that controlled, Chris?
Come again, sorry, I missed the question.
How is the quality and sincereness of the documents controlled?
The quality and the sincerity. As I said, there's a wide range of document criteria that EcoVadis checks, and they also do a 360 background check on you. So that is from open sources. So if you have if you put on documents that are do not match the document requirements, it will not pass. Whether, I don't know whether this is a question where you think that documents are fake, for example. I don't know if that is the nature of the question, but there's a very stringent procedure in place to check it.
There's another question about the relationship between CSRD, VSME, and EcoVadis. So if the SMEs choose to, because if they don't have to comply with CSRD, if they choose to use EcoVadis instead of VSME, how can you make that decision as a first-time reporter?
That's an interesting question, and that's a debate we've been having in Tosca as well. We think they are complementary to each other, because the VSME report does not have an external verification on it. So we like to use them both. So you write a VSME report and get an EcoVadis recognition next to that, so that you will have a certification of your sustainability management system, transparent, compliant report towards the VSME.
I see another question about the relationship between the double materiality analysis and the high impact themes that are determined by EcoVadis.
That's a good question. I would say in the ideal world, they're the same, of course. It would be very strange if EcoVadis comes up with sort of the high themes or the high impact themes, whereas that is not something that comes out of the double materiality assessment. So I would assume they are the same, but I must admit that I have never tested it in this way.
Yeah, but in the case of EcoVadis, they are kind of determined for you. Is that right?
Exactly, but you also know that if you do a double materiality analysis and it is in a certain sector, and you work with a customer on their double materiality analysis, you're going to look at the same companies in the same sector, and then you look into their DMAs, you look into their ESG reports, and companies in the same sector often have the same themes coming up. They have the same, material topics that they address because they're in the same business. The way EcoVadis builds your industry risk profile, on which your high impact themes are determined, is the same way. They look at, the common ground in a certain sector on the high impact themes.
Okay, we have two more questions. The first one is, when do you get to see your questions? Do you get to see them before you start the assessment and activate the 8-week window?
Yes, and you can see them online, and you can download your question in an Excel as well.
And the last question I see is, what are the costs of EcoVadis?
Yeah. The cost depend on the size of your business and on the subscription you take. Probably easiest to take a look at the EcoVadis website. There's a very simple and structured overview if you type in cost.
Exactly. So it's a subscription-based
Correct.
model.
Correct.
So you can decide which subscription applies the most to you. And of course, the prices will be different as well. For instance, with the premium subscription, they do have the option of benchmarking your performance against your peers. And you can see that. And also the evolution of your peers versus how you have evolved in the previous years, if you are doing it in multiple years. But of course, it's up to you to see if that's useful. I see another question. We are 3 companies in our group. Do we apply as a group or each company separately?
That depends on the on the size of the companies, and it is your choice on what you want to do. It's like I said at the start of the webinar, we've made some choices on the topics to present to you today. EcoVadis has quite clear guidelines on mother-daughter companies or affiliate companies or things like that, on how you can use each other. So if your mother company has all kind of policies that also count and are implemented in the daughter companies, in the affiliate companies, then you can use those as well for EcoVadis. So then you can decide maybe to, you know, lift it up a little bit higher, but it depends a bit on the company structure on how you want to use it. If the affiliate companies or the affiliates want to sort of have their own label, have their own medal maybe, or whether they want to lift on the label of the mother company. I hope
Yes.
that answers the question. Yeah.
Yes, I haven't seen any more questions popping up. It's not 1 o'clock yet, but maybe it's also good to give people a bit of time before the previous meeting, maybe to grab a bite if they have not eaten. But please, if you have any further questions, do not hesitate to contact us. You see the email addresses of the company, but also of Chris specifically. Both of them work fine. So call us, send us an email, whichever works best for you, and we'll answer your questions
I see a
further.
note from Hannah still. Yes, we will send the slides and the recording to you afterwards, Hannah. So you're welcome. That was it, I think. Thank you, Pedram. Thank you, everybody, for your attention and your time. And as said, if anything sticks or if you have any questions that pop up, or you wake up at night and think, oh, I have another question, feel free to email us. Happy to help you out and be in touch. So thank you very much and have a good day.
Yes. Have a great day.